My body is doing things I thought I forgot how to do. I use my cane less. My blood pressure dropped so much I no longer need meds. I'm often shocked by how much more I can do. I have not dieted. I am not trying to lose weight, and I don't care what size my body is. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are going to be talking about this page right here. So this page is called Chub Rub Clothing. And if you're unfamiliar with Chub Rub, we've actually talked about them before, but they are a plus size fashion, art, and more. So it goes on to say fat liberation through bold fashion and art, generously cut for a perfect fit every time. Slow AF for fats, by fats, and then they have an in-person shop. But if you're curious as to what Chub Rub is, this is what the website looks like. If I'm being completely honest, this shirt is pretty sweet. But as you can see, they go from XL to 5XL. So there was some previous controversy about the fact that they didn't make smaller sizes. So that was something that people talked about. But more importantly, I want to talk about the founder. And so and they're about us. It goes on to say, in summer of 2022, Chub Rub founder Candace Frank envisioned a brand where playfulness, softness, and edginess collide. Like many fat kids turned fat adults, Candace spent her life projecting a toughness designed to tell the world she simply couldn't give a damn about what it thought. But in the face of loss, she found a new kind of magic. Chub Rub is a reclamation of all the beautiful things about us that we're told time and time again to hide. It's a celebration of softness, of curves, of rolls. Chub Rub is here to help you revel in all your little secrets, your bumps, wrinkles, and folds hold, right? And so this is a person that created Chub Rub, to empower fat adults, mainly fat women, I would assume, to, embrace their true selves, which that in and of itself, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's great. Where the hypocrisy, in my opinion, comes in is what we're going to be going over here in a second. In order to do that, we are going to go back to the Instagram page, and the post that we are going to be talking about is this one right here. We can't play the audio, but it's basically like girls just want to have fun kind of music that's going on. And it goes on to say, not losing weight this year because I never lose, right? And then, kind of tongue-in-cheek joking around, but then she goes on to say, but seriously, time for a legit health update, right? And then she goes on to say, if you're new here, hi, I've spent the last 4+ years in and out of bed and survived in chronic pain and surviving emergency hospital stays and major surgeries. A combo of long COVID and a severe hormonal imbalance left me with debilitating fatigue and pain almost 24/7. In January, I finally got my gallbladder removed after months of agony, and instantly things started to improve. That's something that's really common. Actually, even people that lose weight, if you lose weight too quickly, that's something that you can deal with. Gallbladder issues is pretty common, but apparently I think it can be common just in general as well, right? But then she goes on to say, then in March, we found massive toxic mold in the attic above our condo, standing water, collapsing ceiling, and every dangerous mold you can think of. I'm severely allergic to penicillin, which made the white mold even more dangerous for me. We moved into a hotel for 2 weeks while it was remedied, and again, I got better. In April, I co-created Seattle Fat Mall with Kwame and Curvy Cactus, and even though it's been a physical challenge, it's also been healing. The environment our community came together to create has been beautiful and understanding and supportive in so many ways. The fat joy is palpable, and that joy is medicine. Since then, my health has visibly improved. My body is doing things I thought I forgot how to do. I use my cane less. My blood pressure dropped so much I no longer need meds. I'm often shocked by how much more I can do. And this is where it gets very interesting. And I want to be very clear. I have not dieted. I am not trying to lose weight, and I don't care what size my body is. Now, before we go on, I do want to go through the page a little bit. So you saw what size she was there. But if we scroll down a little bit and you look at the size that she was in some of these posts, she was, in my opinion, clearly larger, right? In a lot of these videos, she definitely looks like she is larger there. Obviously, not all of these photos are of her, but of the ones that are of her, she is significantly larger, right? And so I think it's interesting. I think that a big reason why she made this post was because people started to notice that she was losing weight, and then she felt the need to explain that. Something that's very common in the fat acceptance space is that there is almost this fear, and this is something that I've learned through a lot of people that I've talked to that were previously part of the space, right? Is this fear of losing weight and what that might mean for like your audience and how that might upset your audience, right? That might make them feel a certain way because now you are getting smaller and they feel you've been saying for so long, oh, it's okay to be the size that you are. It's okay to be the size that you are. You should love yourself regardless. But then once something starts happening to you, whether it's a health implication or you just decide, you know what, I'm no longer happy here, and you decide to lose weight, those people are upset with you because you have profited off of them. You have made a bunch of claims and you are creating all of these businesses around the fact that it's completely fine to be overweight. But then you yourself decide, but not really for me. Continuing on with the post, she goes on to say, these changes are not a makeover. They are the result of healing from actual serious health issues. I say that because fat folks, especially super fat folks like me, are constantly told that we're lying or exaggerating or just trying to skip the line for care. We are living with life-altering conditions that are ignored, mocked, or blamed on our bodies. Now, two things can be true at the same time, right? So I believe that certainly does happen. That was something that I dealt with when I was bigger as well, as far as like, just not feeling like I was getting the best care. But at the same time, I think it can be true that if you are someone that is super morbidly obese, it is like almost necessary that a doctor and a healthcare professional, that should be something that you explore, right? As like, hey, this is something that we should look into, because time and time again, over all the studies and all of the stuff, all of the journals, everything is saying that being this size is not conducive to living a long and healthy life. And that is something that we should work on, right? But I think people have such a moral kind of connection to their size, and so many people in a bad way as well, right? Because so many people have this moral connection to where they want to do anything they can to lose weight, which is unhealthy as well. But then on the other side, which is like the fat acceptance, is that it's almost seen as giving up, right? And admitting defeat when someone that is in the fat acceptance space does start to lose weight. So then they have to make a post like this when the weight starts coming off, because they feel like they have to say, hey, I'm not losing weight because I want to, or because I felt that I was not beautiful and I felt that whatever, right? I'm losing weight because I was actually unhealthy for things completely unrelated to my weight. And once I started working on those things, I started feeling better and my weight just happened to go down. And it's like, we have to understand that, yes, not everything is going to be tied to your weight, but it's also okay to be like, hey, losing weight will help certain things. It feels like it's either there's two sides, right? There is a side that's like all obsessed about weight, and like if you're at all even a little bit overweight, oh my God, you're a disgusting fat pig, and I hope it's like, skinny talk, all of that stuff, right? Oh my God, if you're overweight, that's so disgusting. And then there's the other side where your weight has nothing to do with your health and it couldn't possibly have any ill effects. And it's just bizarre, because I feel like most people I talk to in the real world can understand that being significantly overweight is probably not the best thing for you, but they also understand like you could also have other things going on with your body that don't have anything to do with your weight, even though you're 400, 500 pounds. And those things should be taken seriously, and you should have genuine helpful care, and you can work on both of those things together. Finishing up this post, it goes on to say, it's not helping. The shame, the ridicule, the delays in care, none of it helps. You don't have to understand someone else's experience to choose compassion. Fat people deserve real care, real empathy, real support. Thanks to everyone who has held me up while I fought for answers. I'm still healing, but I'm finally feeling a little free. Right. So obviously I am super happy that she was able to get the care that she needed, and it seems that she is doing better. That is a fantastic thing. More than anything, I think that this shows the dangers of attaching your self-worth and your entire identity to something like this, right? When it comes to the fat acceptance kind of stuff, if you're a bigger person and your health starts failing you, you almost are afraid to talk about that happening because of the backlash of what other people are going to say, right? And honestly, for her, she has definitely been instrumental in saying that, you can be bigger and be completely healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. So I understand why she is afraid to share the fact that she is losing weight and that is improving the quality of her life. So instead, it's all of these other things are happening and my weight loss just happens to go down, right? Those two things can happen at the same time. Losing weight can be helping you as well as all of the other stuff that is going on. And to act like those two things are completely separate, it's not living in reality, right? Like if you have lost a significant amount of weight and your health is now improving, I think it's okay to be like, hey, maybe losing a significant amount of weight is part of the reason why your health is improving. I think one of the most important parts of this post are these 3 bullet points, right? I have not dieted. You can absolutely lose weight and not diet. I think that's possible. You can make lifestyle changes, as cheesy as that sounds. I am not trying to lose weight. This, right? I am not trying to lose weight. So this is kind of echoes back the intentional weight loss, something that you hear a lot in the fat acceptance space, right? They are anti-intentional weight loss. But if you just happen to do things that make you lose weight that you weren't doing before, then that's okay, right? If you're someone that's been, you've basically been sitting at home all day, every day for months and months and maybe even years, and then you start going out and going on walks because it's good for your mental health and it's just something you want to do, and then therefore that causes you to lose weight, though that's completely fine. That's not intentional weight loss. That's just you exploring your city a little bit more and getting out of the house because that's not good to do anyways, right? And so that's a very common thing that you hear. But it's frustrating because I understand where it's coming from, because they're absolutely, and I truly believe this, you can become obsessed with losing weight to where this thing that is a noble cause for you, right? Like for me, when I was losing weight, it was this thing that I felt that I needed to because I wasn't living the life that I wanted to live. It can absolutely, and there was a time where it did for me, become too much to where every decision you are making and every single step and thought and everything about your life is about how can I be as small as possible, right? That I don't agree with, and I wouldn't want anyone that I would be like working with or talking to, I would never advise them to do that, right? And so I understand partly where the health at every size movement means with like intentional weight loss. But again, I think that you can't intentionally lose weight in a way that is not everything about my life is about how many calories I'm eating and how much I'm moving and all of that stuff, right? You can be like, hey, I'm going to be pretty intentional about the choices that I'm making with the food that I'm eating. And I'm going to try and make sure that I get a certain amount of steps in a day or go to the gym a couple times a week because I haven't been to the gym in 10 years or whatever that is. And I think you can intentionally make those decisions and be like, I know that doing this stuff will mean that I lose weight. And that is something that I want. And I think that that is okay. And people shouldn't be shamed for that. Right. And that's where I think a lot of the fat acceptance, fat liberation, health at every size kind of loses the plot for a lot of other people, because the thing is like so many people are living or have lived in severely overweight or obese bodies. Right. And a lot of people have very negative experiences with that. Some of those cultural, right? The cultural experience of how they've been treated versus like how doctors have treated them or how it's been hard to fit an XYZ thing. All of those things, fair enough. I think talking about that and trying to make it more accommodating is a good thing. People disagree with me on that one, right? But that's how I feel. On top of those cultural and societal feelings, there are also the genuine feelings of the person and how they feel daily, right? I remember how I felt at my heaviest. It did not feel good. I was not excited. It was frustrating not being able to walk any sort of distance, right? It was frustrating being able to barely bend down and tie my shoe. At my heaviest, I could not do that. I always wore Vans. I still wear Vans most days. I would take the shoe off, tie it, and then just slip it on. All of my shoes were basically, I was able to slip them on because bending over to tie my shoe was hard, right? That has nothing to do with society. And that has to do with me not being able to physically bend over and tie my shoe, right? Along with a bazillion other things, diabetes, and maybe your knees are hurting, and other things that clearly losing weight would benefit that. I think that when it comes to fat acceptance, there is a disconnect there, and it's just so interesting seeing this TikTok or reel and seeing this person obviously lose weight and then have to almost explain it to their audience and be like, I'm not doing this on purpose. Please don't be upset with me. I'm just doing this because this is just happening. It just seems to be happening, and weight loss seems to be happening as well. I think it's okay to lose weight. You don't even have to be excited about it if you don't want to be. But like, it's just so weird to have to come out and basically say, hey, I'm losing weight, but don't be mad, right? But again, that's just how I feel. I would love to know what y'all think down in the comment section down below. As always, please try to be kind. There's no reason to be mean. I don't think that does anything good for anyone involved. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.